So welcome back, everyone. If you're joining us again, you know that our last conversation with incredible Ariel Jervis here was so jam-packed with insights that we quite literally outrun our schedule here and maybe even tested the limits of our internet connection. Um, However, as they say, the best things are worth waiting for. And practically when we were left off, we were peeling back the layers on cellular health and nutrition. And now we are going to dive deeper into picking right where we left off. I think we are ready to dive deep into the um, insights of human performance. And in this next segment, we are shifting a little bit more into the topic where Ariel knows the inside out of it. So we are going to talk about the human performance and also the correlation about the strength training and conditioning. So Ariel is about to break us down how to build a body that doesn't just looking good, but also performs with clinical precision here. So let's get back into it. Ariel, welcome back to the second half of our deep dive. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ivan. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is always mine in this case. So when we talk about the cost of excellence with the conditioning and high performance here, the high performance athletes, they often burn the candles for both ends, knowing that actually from one side, we also have a training session that cause a lot of stress here. But how can we condition our body to perform at 100% without accelerating the aging process here? Is there any hack for it?
Absolutely. So, one thing that people don't realize is when you get to the nucleus of the cell, which is the mitochondria,
All
and
right.
you learn how to optimize the mitochondria, then the cell starts to optimize all the cell functions. Your body is 75 trillion cells, and your cells turn over every 25 days. So, if you're dealing with a blueprint that is so sophisticated, and that is a copier effect and making new generation cells, then the performance is going to get passed on. So
Yeah.
when we're dealing with high performance athletes, they need to be on top of their mitochondria. And what does the mitochondria need? It operates at minus 22 millivoltage. So it actually needs the right charge. So that comes in the form of your food, your water, your minerals, your rest, regulating your nervous system, and stretching your fascia. Like there's so much that can contribute to optimizing your mitochondria. And if you target all those areas, you will always have an advantage against your opponent.
So is this all of it that you just said? What is the most effective way to train our mitochondria to produce more ATP in a sense of energy with maybe less oxidative stress? Or what is the maybe the key hack here to maybe accelerate this process?
It's always to do with oxidative stress. So the root of everything is to get away from oxidation and acidosis and
Mhm.
moving towards harmony within the cell. The cell has to have the right charge, negative charge. It has to have as many electrons as possible
All right.
because the more you lose your electron, the more oxidation. And so if you over exercise, it can cause oxidation. So
Yeah.
then you have to put back those electrons. If you don't drink the right water, it can cause oxidation. So you have to put back the right electrons. If you're not absorbing, you're not detoxifying, you're not resting, all of these things, stress, everything, it actually causes more oxidation. So you need to get in the habit of putting back those electrons. And people do that with antioxidants.
I see. So,
So antioxidants will donate.
okay, as you said, so the recovery architecture is what we have to build it here. We also have in the strength and conditioning a lot of modalities, but just in life per se. We talk about all of the data about the saunas, cold plunge immersions, the sleep, red light therapy, and many others also that you are having in your practice. So, which recovery modality of them maybe consistently moves that needle on the blood markers when it comes to maybe, as we know, the high sensitivity C-reactive protein here, for example?
So when we're talking about biohacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that you can optimize your cell as much as possible for in terms of your opponent. So remember, the more you do and the less your opponent does, that will
Mm-hmm.
compound.
All right.
So when you're a competitive athlete, the more you do for biohacking, the better your cells. So number one, say the first thing you need to do is get away from oxidative stress
All right.
because high performance athletes, they need to focus on their recovery. So that would be in the form of drinking electrolyzed reduced water. If you're not drinking this water and your body's 80% water, your recovery will not be there. Black and white. Doing red light therapy with infrared sauna is a game changer. Cold plunging is not for everybody. So, cold plunging is very beneficial, but it is not for everybody. So, making sure that you have if you're going to do cold plunging, you do it appropriately and it's not for everybody. So, the other thing would be doing neurofeedback, which creates new neurological pathways in the brain and regulates the nervous system, the gut brain connection, and the vagus nerve, especially if you have high cortisol, high adrenaline, and it prevents burnout and it prevents brain fatigue. It helps with memory and it helps with being able for your brain to be able to um, program itself to have faster recovery when it's in terms of sports, memory. Um, we see a lot of football players and things like that because it's also great for recovery for concussion. And then we also have the PEMF therapy, so pulse electromagnetic field therapy. So if I have an athlete who is very competitive and they're doing one of these modalities, then yes, they're going to see amazing results with their C reactive protein. But if I have a competitor that is doing all of these modalities, who do you think is going to win? Right?
Yeah.
So the more you recover, the better your mitochondria, the less oxidative stress.
Yeah, there is even a recent study that shows that the more oxidative stress, you accelerate the aging process. But how can I also, on one side of it, biohack my diet? Why does a perfect diet for one person shows up maybe a metabolic stress for another person's blood panel here? So how can I biohack my diet in a terms maybe to accelerate also the recovery processes and be ready for the next day?
So, food is medicine. Would you give medicine to someone blindly without running tests?
No.
So, if you're running tests and you're figuring out their iron levels, their thyroid, their liver, their adrenals, you look at all 11 body systems and you know food is medicine, then you work with a nutritionist and
All
they
right.
create a meal plan for your deficiencies so that you're not over supplementing or under supplementing with the wrong foods because food is medicine. So that's
Yeah.
where, whenever I'm dealing with my clients, I will recommend certain foods that they're deficient in or certain foods that their body will not process properly because of their nervous system or because of their physiology. Because if their body is not responding well to certain foods because of high histamine or liver dysfunction or dysbiosis or candida, it doesn't matter, right? Then
Yeah.
they're not going to respond well to that food. It's going to create oxidative stress. So that's where you have to deal with a professional in sports medicine with food as well.
I see. But is there any specific food, or how can I also a little bit influence my cognitive longevity here? So, how does a blood oxidation and glucose stability directly correlate to executive function and high stakes decision making here? So, how can I influence myself to be much more cognitive enhanced here in terms of
I
biohacking?
absolutely love. So, one thing that I personally take that I swear by is NAD.
All right.
NAD, adding that into your practice, into your wellness routine is a biohack. It works on the mitochondria, it fights off oxidative stress, it helps optimize the cell, it helps with the prefrontal cortex to help with decision making, fast decision making. It helps with a dysregulated nervous system because a lot of people, when they're constantly in fight or flight with high cortisol and adrenaline, the amygdala swells and the hippocampus shrinks and their prefrontal cortex shuts down. So they can't make quick decisions under stress. So when you start to do the neurofeedback, drink the water, and you take NAD, you start noticing more cognitive function. You start noticing that you are able to retain more information and pull information faster, and you'll be able to make decisions faster, even if you've had a concussion. NAD is a game changer, and I recommend doing a proper form, usually in the form of injection or IV. Those are usually the ones that work. Any other form, like oral, it just doesn't work properly. So,
But how would you suggest for just a normal person over there to take the measurements of NAD supplementation? So what is the normal protocol here of supplementing the NAD?
yeah, the normal protocol is 10 units 3 times a week or 30 units 3 times a week, and you take it in the morning.
Okay.
And you definitely don't want to take it at night. So you would take it in the morning 3 times a week. Some people will take it more, but in my professional opinion, 3 times is perfect. And you'll,
Yeah.
because it stays in your body for a bit and it really fights off oxidative stress and helps with the mitochondria function.
Well, it was worth taking the precautions and all of the measures with it. Well, when we also dissect the advantages of biohacking, we cannot uh, avoid the future trends. You also mentioned in our previous conversation about the peptides and their frontier. So where do you see the role of bioregularity peptides? So heading maybe in the next 5 years. So from the
Yes. So
average person who is interested in taking them, you know.
yeah. So, first of all, let me explain to you what a peptide is. So, a peptide is an amino acid. It's not a steroid, it's not a stimulant, and your body makes them. Amino acids, if you've ever taken a collagen, that is a peptide. If you ever go to your medical esthetician for skincare or hair care, they use peptides in your serums. So, people have been exposed to peptides for years. Peptides have been around for over 30 years. However, what people don't realize is that peptides are the biohacking future. There are so many different types, but you have to work with a professional so that you know which peptide is for you and how to take the peptide. You don't have to stay on them forever, but let's say you're a newbie and you're brand new and you want to explore peptides. Usually people will start with something that relates to what their health issue is. So I deal a lot with clients with chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation, pain, joint issues, maybe autoimmune, maybe gut issues, hair, skin, and nails. They love the BPC 157. Your body makes it. If you pair it up with TB 500, that is called the Wolverine stack. That is a great place to start. That's where I started. I started with the Wolverine for some old injuries and inflammation, and I noticed a difference within the first week. So the first 10 days, you typically see results within peptides. But make sure you work with a professional and you get a clean source. You don't want to get cheap peptides, just like you don't want to get your supplements from the dollar store. You want to
Yeah.
get high quality supplements, high quality peptides, and working with a professional so you know what you're doing. A lot of people are exploring retatrutide. Retatrutide is a GLP-1, GLP-2, and a glucagon. So it works on the entire metabolic system. It's not like Ozempic. It's not like Mounjaro or Wegovy. It actually goes in, and there is a lot of research coming out where it helps with fatty liver, cholesterol, diabetes, any precancerous cells on the liver and pancreas, and helps with the metabolic system to allow your body to burn more fat for fuel, melts the visceral fat, and helps with the food noise. So it works on the hypothalamus. It works on constantly snacking and being hungry, or people that overeat. Maybe they eat too late. Maybe they have poor eating habits. And willpower alone is not, they're not able to do that. So this is a great way for them to see a rapid fat loss. And so typically you would do 10 units once a week. 5 to 10 units once a week, and it depends on the concentration, but it's pretty cool when people start to explore peptides, whether it's for fat loss, autoimmune, cancer, hair, skin, and nails, anti aging, recovery, joints, sleep, erectile dysfunction, men's health, women's health, the list goes on.
And I'm also very open to it, to be honest. But here in Austria, where I'm based, we have a very high regularities here, so it's practically impossible to get any. But just for instance, what would you recommend for me? when you look at the fact that I'm also approaching my fourth decade in life? How would you choose my usage protocol here or just a stack here? You just mentioned a couple of those.
Yeah, I think you would absolutely love the Wolverine, the NAD, and the Tessamorelin. That would be a really good stack.
Yeah, at the beginning. So um, it is also quite amazing that they are so well researched in America, and the people are very buy it all over the place. But here we just have to deal with this. So maybe it's gonna change in the future. I really hope so. Maybe this is also the message that I can hear. But if we talk about the stem cells, how can we prevent the zombie cells from accumulating throughout the lifestyle alone? Because we talk about the oxidative cells, there is enemy number one here. So can you also elaborate a little bit here on this topic?
At the end of the day, you want to keep your cells healthy. What is your cell made up of? Negative charged water. So,
Mm-hmm.
electrolyzed reduced water. Go on pubmed.gov and research it. It's amazing. It has molecular hydrogen, a negative ORP, low ohm resistance, and a clustered structure. You also want to have enough omega 3 and omega 6 in the proper ratio. Ivan, I could not believe how many clients, when I did a blood analysis, how many clients had deficient in omega 3 and 6. I was shocked. Their numbers were, and they all take fish oil. So people are not absorbing properly. And we
Mm-hmm.
get them on a proper fish oil and we do a blood analysis and you can actually see the difference. And the blood analysis kit, we can actually mail out. So we mail the blood kit, you do your finger, and then you can see what your body's deficient in, and you can see if you need to go on certain things. So it's pretty cool. The other thing is making sure that you are getting enough trace minerals. If you keep the health, if you keep the wall of the cell really healthy and you really focus on absorbing the good stuff and releasing the bad stuff. So, absorbing the minerals, detoxifying the metals, and really fighting off those free radicals by integrating a ton of electrons in the body and really supporting that mitochondria with the NAD and with some of the biohacking we talked about. Then, of course, your body's going to figure it out. Your body has an immune system. Your body has T cells and B cells and killer cells, macrophages, neutrophils. Your body has the ability and an immune system to fight off any sort of virus, any sort of pathogen, but you have to cultivate a healthy ecosystem and a healthy terrain. So just
Yeah.
like you have a farmer, when they're preparing the soil to plant their seed to grow their crop, they don't just put the seeds down. No, they cultivate the soil. So you have
Yeah.
to get the body ready so that your body has its own internal intelligence to fight back. You have to work on your nervous system. Is your body always in fight or flight? Well, that's going to make your body sick. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, you're going to be exposed and you're going to get sick.
You
It's
mentioned
never just one thing.
also that 90% of the supplements are useless. They are practically overrated. And I'm totally agree with it. But what is your litmus test here for whether a supplement is actually doing what it claims on a cellular level? How can we dissect really and choose the right product here? Because it turns to be quite challenging for everybody. Even for me, I really, struggle here just to see and try the and purchase the right product.
Test it. So
Hmm.
everything that we recommend within the clinic has been tested and scientifically studied on humans. Our supplements, our water, and our medical devices have all
Yeah.
been scientifically studied on humans. That's why I use these products. I don't just go use other products. I use products that are tested. So we have home kits that you can actually buy and you do the kit at home. You send it off to a lab that we collaborate with, and they will actually test all the different markers to see where you are as a baseline. And then I will give you a protocol for food and supplements and water, and you'll be able to get started on that. And then in about 6 months, you do your test again. So you do your test within 6 months, and
All
it's a
right.
blood test you can do at home.
Okay. And what is your top five supplements that we definitely must have on our shelves and taking it on a daily basis?
Magnesium. Yeah,
Magnesium.
magnesium. There are 8
Okay.
types of magnesium. Take a magnesium complex. Magnesium is Mg positive on the periodic table. So if you're drinking negative charged water, it will be absorbed. If you're drinking positive charged water, it will not be absorbed.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
magnesium
Okay. Further.
and your omega. So if you're taking an omega 3 6, very important. That is like a standard daily.
Sure.
And I get a lot of my clients to take chlorophyll. Chlorophyll should be a daily thing that you take. Chlorophyll comes from the plant where it photosynthesizes, and it's the chloroplast in the plant. So it's not chlorella, it's not spirulina, it's not a photosynthetic algae. It's
Okay.
part of the plant that photosynthesizes. So it actually brings sunlight into the cell, and our cells are very similar to a plant. So when you take chlorophyll, it allows your ATP production to go up. It works on the mitochondria, and it fights free radicals, and it purifies the blood of any heavy metals and glyphosates. It binds to glyphosates. I don't know if you guys have glyphosates out there, but here in Canada, there is so much glyphosate and herbicide and pesticide. So everybody should be on chlorophyll.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that we are basically the same here. I don't see that there is any difference here because we are eating the same food and we are, under the same circumstances right now. So why not? So this is where
Yeah.
I made a mistake here. So because I was supplementing with chlorella, moringa, and spirulina. So I was thinking that I'm doing the right thing for my body. So I have to change that and adapt it. But
Yeah.
on the other, please
Magnesium,
continue.
magnesium, omega, chlorophyll, B vitamins. So a lot of people are very low in B6 and B12. Taking a really good B complex, and you can get it through your food. You don't have to take it through a supplement. I take it through nutritional yeast. I put nutritional yeast on my food every day, 2 tablespoons every single day. That's a really good source. Or you can take a really good methylated B vitamin. And then lastly is um, really working on your deficiencies. Like these are your top 5 is working on your deficiencies. Are you low in minerals? Taking a liquid mineral. I take Clarity. Clarity is an incredible liquid mineral. It has all 100 trace minerals in a liquid, and you just put the dropper in your water every day. Minerals are positive charge, so your water must be negative charge to bind. Otherwise, positive repel. So make sure you're taking your minerals every single day. And just like we take our vehicle in for maintenance to your mechanic, you want to
Yeah,
take your body in and get your blood work done once a year. So check your iron, check your thyroid, check your kidneys, check your liver, check your markers. Like people don't test, but they test their vehicle, but they don't test their body. You need to know where you're at. You need to know why are you tired? What's going on? Why are you overweight? You know, people that are overweight, they can't just blame genetics because that's not true. It's actually because you just don't know what to do. So that's where you want to work on that. You want to work on your hormones, your iron levels, your liver. Like there's some work that needs to be done, and you need to take accountability.
for sure. And the responsibility for your own body. But we rely these days, especially a lot of the new gadgets that they are presented to us, wearable data that we collect on a daily basis. We many people I know that rely on Aura and Whoop, but how often does a wearable data contradicts what you see in the actual blood chemistry here? Is there any correlation, or can we really just um, stick with it on the long term or not? Can we accept it as a fact that they are
Well,
doing their thing?
so essentially, if I'm understanding your question, what your question is can we test the data? Well, if you
Yeah.
have data, at least it gives you an idea of where you're at, right? You don't want to walk in blindly. You want to get rid of the blind spots. So the more data you have, the easier you are to have a plan. And the
Mhm.
easier it is to have a little bit more precision. You don't have to be perfect, but if you have no data, you have no idea where to go. And so I always say the more data you have, the better you can customize your protocol so that you're not wasting your time and wasting your money. And you're just being a little bit more articulate with your custom protocol because every body is different.
But what about the circadian biology? How much of the blood dysregulation is caused by the light pollution or dysregulation of circadian rhythm rather than just the bad nutrition here? Which one is the bad causality here? Can
So
you
it's
dissect or
actually correlated. So people don't realize that their body is, yes, it's influenced by water, diet, and stress, but
yeah?
it's actually extremely influenced by pollution and frequencies. Our whole
Hmm.
body runs on frequencies. So the amount of exposure you have with your technology is destroying you. So you need to limit technology use. So many people are overusing their technology and it is destroying their health and their mitochondria. It creates so many free radicals and oxidative stress. So limit that and detach from your technology. And then also doing your liver stone flushes 4 times a year, heavy metal detoxes, parasite detoxes, and candida detoxes 4 times a year. The reason why is because you want to get your health, your body as healthy as possible. And you want to turn your body into a detox factory. You can't live in a bubble. You can't have a perfect life. But what you can do is you can eliminate the amount of toxicity that your body is holding. And so you need to get that out and let that go. It could be toxicity from environmental toxins like pollution, from technology, from all the EMF and all the 5G, from medication and vaccinations, things like that. You've got negativity when it comes to emotions, right? People don't realize they can make themselves sick by holding resentment, anger, bitterness. All of those low vibration emotions actually create oxidative stress in your body and it makes you sick. People that don't let go, they get cancer. Doesn't matter about how perfect your diet, how perfect your water. You can't just look at diet and water alone. You also have to look at your spirit. How's your spirit? Are you connected to God? Are you working on healing your spirit or is your spirit dead? Because if your spirit is dead, your vessel will die and no peptide will fix that.
That's very deep, but and I really agree on that modern mismatch. We spend too much time with the technology, and our bodies evolved for scarcity, but we live in abundance nowadays. But how do we trick our human biology into that survival mode? Without maybe just misery of actually going to starvation if you want to, take the consideration of maybe autophagy, self-repair, and etc. So, is there any other way?
So are you asking, sorry, I'm trying to understand what you're asking. Are you
Mhm.
asking how to promote autophagy?
No, no, I just in general, how do we trick our biology into that survival mode
Okay.
to switch from that abundance into a surviving mode? So how should we, do the the best switch that can cause our body to thrive?
To go into survival mode?
Yeah, yes. How do we trick the biology of the chemistry of our body to go into the survival mode? Yes, of course, to make the abundance, because this is where the place where we also thrive, I think. I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my question to you, without just going through maybe sacrificing and going into the actual starvation. When we talk, for example, I just give you the example of the autophagy, because if you
Okay.
want to take the autophagy, you have to take the time restricting eating, you have to doing the fasting, and etc. So you could do another example. This is just my example to you, just
Yeah.
maybe to
So a,
make it
a
a bit.
lot of Yeah, so a lot of people go into autophagy, which is apoptosis, cell suicide. They will go into autophagy through nutrition. So it's a 72-hour fast. But what people don't realize is that you can actually work on elimination diet. You can do different types of detoxification, which will help bind to all of those free radicals. And to support apoptosis, a lot of people are doing it with peptides. A lot of people are doing it with like ivermectin and Zenbend. So there's just different ways that you can support the body in terms of apoptosis. And what that is to get rid of all of the precancerous cells or the cancerous cells or the mutated cells. And that way your body can recycle and clean. And that way your body isn't using that organic material to create new cells. Your body's going to eliminate it. You don't want your body to recycle unhealthy cells to make new cells. You want your body to take healthy cells and make new healthy cells, not unhealthy cells and make new. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people are doing autophagy and different bone broth fasts and different types of fasting. And that's a great source. But at the end of the day, if you don't do liver flushes, what's the point? A lot of people are not doing the proper liver stone flush. And so all of that metabolic waste is just getting stored in the liver, but you're not getting it out of the body. You have to flush the liver. That's the biggest part. Otherwise, there's no point in trying to do autophagy.
Is that one of the first systems that you prioritize fixing in your clinic, or what is the first
Yes.
physiological system, okay, that you're prioritizing
Yeah.
here?
The first step is liver. Yeah. The
All right.
liver's the filter. Yeah.
But in your experience, what is the most common medication that can be successfully replaced by precise lifestyle and just nutritional optimization here? That we, that
Medication.
what is the most common medication that we can successfully replace by precise lifestyle? It's just nutrition optimization here that we don't have to spend thousands of dollars on it.
Oh, I see. Well, a lot of medications that you can replace nowadays is metformin or
Okay.
your blood thinners, or you can replace blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication. There's so many medications like that. Diabetes medication. Those medications are actually all changed by doing liver detoxes, changing your diet, and drinking the right water. Lifestyle can correct a lot of different things, but the problem is people don't want to take accountability and responsibility, and they don't want to change. If you're willing to change and you're willing to become disciplined, you can actually get your body to a healthy place where your medical doctor will no longer need to give you that medication. And this is something you can talk about with your medical doctor is you can tell your medical doctor that you want to work on lifestyle, work with a professional, and then every 3 months go check with your doctor, and you'll actually see your blood panels are improving and you won't need your medication anymore. And I'm not saying quit your medication cold turkey. I'm not
Yeah.
saying just throw out your medication. You have to get your markers in range and you have to work with a professional. You have to have guidance, but you can do it. So just know that anyone out there that's on medication, you can actually come off your medication if you work on your lifestyle with a professional.
I believe that my parents will be the perfect patient for your clinic because my parents also my mother actually got some vision problem, and I just definitely think and correlated with too much medication. She just recently got on a specific medication, and since then her vision dropped dramatically. But my question to you, is there a limit to a human optimization here? Or do you believe we can eventually stall the biological aging indefinitely? I don't know if you are familiar with it, but Dr. David Andrew Sinclair, the Australian American. He's a biologist and an academic. He's very well known for his research on aging and epigenetics. He won also
Mhm.
recently a Nobel Prize on reversing aging, human aging, and performance. So, is there any unlimited potential here? Can we say we all have a technology nowadays and know-how to live over 100 years old? Do you believe in such a thing? Or?
I do. So
Mhm.
I do believe that we can actually live a lot longer than what they've conditioned us. We
Yeah.
have been brainwashed that we are supposed to die young. We have been brainwashed on so many different things. And there's a lot of research coming out. And all I can say is go back and read your Bible. People live to be 700 years old.
Yeah.
And if you look at when the pyramids, look at when the pyramids were built, there's a lot of really interesting information around how to support our bodies. And does that mean that you and I are going to live to be 700? No, because at the end of the day, it's also based on God's design. So you can't take God out of the picture. We are not God, right? So we are not mini gods. And that's where you have to be very careful because as soon as people start to biohack and they remove God and they make themselves a mini god, now you are dealing with a different entity. You're dealing with dark energy, which is very powerful. And dark energy can give you power. And that is the one thing I tell people is be very careful not to go down that path. Stay in the path of light, not darkness. Because otherwise, you're going to end up with all the elites. And we know the elites around the world, those elites, they are also biohacking and they
Yeah.
are going to live for a very long time. But they're doing it with a dark energy, not a good energy.
Perfect message for wrapping this up. So, Ariel, the ultimate metric. At the end of the day, what is one biomarker that you think best represents a life well lived from a physiological standpoint here?
The best marker is a regulated nervous system. A lot of people are stressed. If you can live in a stressful environment, but not be stressed and still have peace and have quality of life, inner peace, you've figured it out. You have it. You are wealthy.
Definitely. Earlier, before we wrap this up, where can our listeners connect with you and follow your work?
So I am Ariel Jarvis. I have an Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel. I'm located in Langley, BC. And you can look at me, follow me on Instagram, vitality underscore wellness underscore, or Ariel Jarvis, or on YouTube, Vitality Wellness World. And feel free to reach out to us. Be happy to have a conversation. And yes, we can work with clients virtually all around the world.
This work. And that's a wrap on today's episode. If there is one thing Ariel provide with us today, I think it's that your health is a lifestyle, not just a phase in your life. I want to thank you, Ariel, for sharing your expertise and your wisdom about everything and all about your community here. And to our listeners, if you're ready to stop guessing and start optimizing, so go check out her work at Vitality Wellness World. Until the next time, please stay healthy, stay connected, stay motivated, and keep chasing those goals. Until the next time, bye bye. Ariel, thank you.